Hello everyone and welcome to the weird, scary and horrible parts of humanity. Today we are looking at one of Canada's first university massacres, the Concordia University Massacre. Also a big shout out to Lucas James for recommending this case, which really is quite interesting and multifaceted. Valery Iosifovich Fabrikant was born in the Soviet Union in Minsk in modern-day Belarus to a Jewish family on the 28th of January 1940. He had a wife and two children, one of whom was a son named Isaac. He migrated to Canada claiming to be a political dissident. However, journalists from the Montreal Gazette found out that he had been dismissed from numerous positions in the Soviet Union based on disruptive behaviour which were not specified, casting doubt on the idea that he was a political dissident. 1 year after arriving in Canada, he was hired at Concordia University, a public comprehensive university located in Montreal, Quebec, founded in 1974. Today, there are 46,811 students, and the university is ranked 18th amongst universities in Canada by the QS University World Rankings 2022, and between the 521st and 530th university in the world by the QS University World Rankings 2022. He started working at Concordia University as a technician and was working under limited grant money before, after several years, being promoted to academic positions as a mechanical engineering associate professor. As a result, he taught students and conducted independent research. Whilst he was admired for his work, publishing amongst others Applications of Potential Theory and Mechanics, a selection of new results, as well as Mixed Boundary Value Problems of Potential Theory and their Applications in Engineering in 1989 and 1991 respectively, with numerous authors having praised his work, he was hated and despised by students and fellow staff members who reported that he had behavioural problems and noted that he was both undesirable and intolerant. Between 1980 and 1983, he produced over 25 pieces of work with the chair of the University of Concordia's Mechanical Engineering Department, Tom Sankar, who hired Fabrikant as a research assistant, listed as the co-author. In 1981, Fabrikant applied for a position at the University of Calgary, a public research university located in Calgary, Alberta, which is ranked by the 2022 QS World University Rankings as the 10th best university in Canada and the 235th best university in the world. When Fabrikant did not get the position at the University of Calgary, he harassed a University of Calgary professor, and in 1982 a female student filed a police report claiming that he raped her and dislocated her shoulder in the process. However, nothing was done and no formal complaint was lodged in order to maintain the student's privacy. In 1983, Fabrikant took a French class and harassed the professor, with the professor threatening to quit, and he was told to stop attending the class due to bullying. Defiantly, Fabrikant went back to the French class, read aloud his notice of expulsion and sat down in the class. He was then ordered to stay away from the class. Throughout the 1980s, he went to court in Quebec in an attempt to have the names of several colleagues with whom he had written research papers removed. He attempted to collect information to blackmail officials into promoting him, and threatened officials and colleagues as well as others, including recording conversations, for whom he blamed for his career problems and lack of career advancement. He also blamed his peers for him being denied tenure and noted that they attempted to terminate his employment. By 1985, when he was appointed to Concordia's Computer-Aided Vehicle Engineering Centre, he was no longer putting anyone else as a co-author on his research papers. In 1989, two people reported him saying, "I know how people get what they want. They shoot a lot of people." This included Catherine Mackenzie, the executive assistant to the rector, to whom Fabrikant threatened that the only way to get what you want in North America is to buy a gun and shoot a lot of people. In the same year, he received a merit award, a raise, and a congratulatory memo on his new book. However, no one made a complaint against him. In 1990, he was denied tenure by Concordia University when he was supposed to receive a tenure-track position for academic successors. By this stage, the engineering department was sick of Fabrikant and wanted him gone, and fought to have him fired, as no one wanted to work with of him, but in 1991 he received the largest bonus of the engineering department for his accomplishments. The engineering department attempted to get him fired, but the rector, Patrick Kenneth, refused due to no paper trail of his violent behaviour, and equally his academic achievements led to his contract being renewed until June 1992, with the dean giving him one more year on his contract when June 1992 came to pass. From late 1991 to 1992, Fabrikant accused Concordia University of tolerating the practice of academics being listed as co-authors on papers to which they had contributed. He accused Tom Sanka and his brother, Seshadri Sanka, the head of the Concave project, of misappropriation and took them to court, and in an email campaign he wrote, "I am no longer afraid of anything or anybody. We all have to die one day. Whenever I die, I shall die an honest person. I cannot fight all the crooks in the world, but I shall not rest until the bogus scientists in this university are exposed." He faced dismissal on the grounds of intimidation and harassment of fellow staff members, and was under a contempt of court charge for behaviour against colleagues regarding his court case, arguing that colleagues should not have received credit on his articles. On the 25th of August 1992, he was to appear in court for contempt of court, having referred to the judge in his lawsuit against Tom Sanka and Seshradi Sanka as the chief injustice, but this day did not come to pass. On Monday, the 24th of August 1992, at around 2:30 p.m, Fabrikant walked into the Henry F. Hall building located at 1455 de Monseigneur Boulevard West, carrying a briefcase with 3 handguns, a snub-nosed Smith & Wesson .38 caliber 5-shot revolver, a German-made 6.35mm MEB pistol with a 6-round magazine, as well as an Argentinian-made 7.65mm Bersa pistol with an 8-round magazine and a large amount of ammunition. He went looking for Sirkanta Swamth, the Dean of Engineering and Computer Science, as well as the Chair of the Mechanical Engineering Department, Sam Osman. However, neither were present. Fabrikant headed to his office, where he was to meet Michael Hogbein, the President of the Concordia University Faculty Association. He shot Hogbein 3 times with his .38 caliber pistol, who fell to the floor and died shortly afterwards. Faculty colleague Aaron Jan Saber, aged 46, called out in shock from his office nearby. Fabrikant crossed the hall, marched into Saber's office and shot him twice. Saber died in the hospital the next day. Heading to Osman's office, he fired at Elizabeth Horwood, wounding her in the thigh. Fabrikant then went to the office of the chair of the Electrical and Computer Engineering Department, Povios Ziogas, who was talking with his colleague Otto Schwelb. Fabrikant shot Ziogas twice, who died in hospital 1 month later, having been in a coma for a month. Fabrikant scuffled with Schwelb, who took control of a pistol. However, Schwelb was unaware that Fabrikant had 2 additional pistols and left him be as he attended to Ziogas. Matthew Douglas, a professor of civil engineering, tried to reason with Fabrikant and was shot at 4 times by Fabrikant. Douglas died almost instantly. Fabrikant then took a security guard and another professor, George Abdu, hostage and locked himself in an office and called an emergency operator, telling the operator that he had committed several murders and wanted to talk to a TV reporter. Staying on the line for an hour, he put his gun down to adjust the phone. Abdu then kicked the gun down and the security guard overpowered Fabrikant. In total, 4 people were killed in the massacre. 17 days after the massacre, Fabrikant was fired by Concordia University. Why it took 17 days and was not immediate, I have no idea. Concordia University changed their ethics rules and administrative procedures to improve operations, the integrity of scholarship, the management of faculty and staff, and establish conflict resolution workshops and resources. During his trial, Fabrikant acted as his own lawyer, having fired 10 lawyers and called 75 witnesses for his defence. He came across as vindictive, unrepentant and vain and rude, as well as hostile towards the judge, who he called a little crook, a biased crook, and welcomed the jury to the Muppet Show, referring to the trial as a money trial. The trial lasted 5 months and he was cited 6 times for contempt of court. After several weeks of observing his eccentric behaviour, the judge suspended the proceedings so that a hearing could be conducted into Fabrikant's mental fitness to stand trial. 2 court-appointed psychiatrists found him fit to stand trial, albeit severely paranoid and hostile. Psychiatrists found that he had narcissistic personality disorder. During the trial, he claimed that he was acting in self-defense as members of the faculty were trying to give him a heart attack. He compared himself to the abused orphans at the Mount Cashel orphanage. This was a boys' orphanage in St. John's in Newfoundland and Labrador, operated by the Congregation of Christian Brothers, and became infamous for a sexual abuse scandal with a cover-up by the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary and Newfoundland Justice officials. 1992 was the zenith of attention of the scandal, with the Boys of St. Vincent, a made-for-television docudrama released, and on the 5th of April 1992 the Christian Brothers formally apologised to the victims of the sexual and physical abuse at the Mount Cashel orphanage, and in July 1992 the Mount Cashel orphanage was demolished. The jury took 7 hours to find Fabrikant guilty of 4 charges of first-degree murder, attempted murder and 2 hostage charges. He was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole until 2017. In 1993 and 2011, a Superior Court judge dismissed a suit by Fabrikant brought against his colleagues in 1992, trying to get his colleagues' names removed from his work. 4 large granite study tables were placed in the foyer of the Henry F. Hall building, and a nearby wall plaque commemorated the massacre. Concordia University joined the Coalition of Gun Control and gathered signatures for a petition calling for tougher gun laws, and in March 1994, representatives of Concordia University presented members of the Parliament of Canada with a petition with 200,000 signatures banning the private ownership of handguns in Canada. However, it was found that Concordia University had failed on numerous avenues, including failing to address harassment of students and colleagues, even though, since as early as 1983, Fabrikant had been shown as a difficult and argumentative individual. Equally, it was found that Concordia University had dragged on Fabrikant's issue of tenure as well as his position of employment, which should have been dealt with years ago. Rose Sheinin, the university's vice-rector academic, as well as Kenneth, were sharply criticised in independent reports commissioned by Concordia University. Kenneth resigned. Sheinin's contract was not renewed in June 1994, while Tom Sanakar, Shashradi Sanakar, and Dean Srikanta Swami were asked to leave quietly. Fabrikant is held at Archambault Prison in Saint-Anne-des-Plaines in Quebec. He and his son Isaac, under the direction of Fabrikant, posted online in news groups and on his own website, noting his innocence and claiming that he was a victim of conspiracy theory. As a result, his access to the internet and computer access was limited. His parole request was denied in 2015. An appeal for temporary prison absence was rejected on the 17th of June 2016. In October 2018, he wrote the paper What Really Happened at Concordia and How the Media Lied About It. In this 60-page article, he discussed how the Canadian media had misrepresented him during his trial in 1992 and 1993. On the 9th of July 2019, the Federal Court of Appeal labelled Fabrikant a vexatious litigant. On the 16th of December 2020, he was denied parole once again, and also a lawsuit that he had launched regarding kosher prison food and kosher soup being inedible, following the prison changing its kosher food supplier in August 2019, was pushed back. Thank you for watching. Please do yourself a favour and hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to inform yourself of when new videos come out. Also, why not hit that like button and leave a nice comment? It helps more than you know, and your support is truly appreciated. Until next time, stay awesome, stay classy, be kind to everyone you meet, have an amazing day, and remember that truth is always more interesting than fiction.